My name is Tim, and I'm very honored and happy to welcome you in the first ever official webinar of Commerce Weavers with our first ever customer, actually. Our story goes far away into the past, not only in Commerce Weavers, but also in our previous company, Sylius, at my side at least, because Philip has always been there at Fusonic since we met. Stefan Hudova have just joined, and he's happy to hear us, and probably what's also happy with what I'm saying. Anyway, guys, you can actually show yourself, like if you join the chat, just let us know, wave to us, or do anything that to make us, more comfortable. Because it's gonna be a tough conversation. We are not only gonna talk about good stuff. We're also gonna talk about bad stuff. It's gonna be an honest conversation. I personally don't like marketing bullshit and sales bingo. So I have always built my, let's say, credibility with honesty, radical honesty and transparency. And so is with Philip, which I'm very happy of. What can I say? My name is Tim, if you don't know. I am a co-founder of Commerce Weavers. We are a company of ex-Sylius core team members. And we are happy to be supporting Fusonic, the agency of Philip, in the development of Mofakult, a very complex, very interesting project from Switzerland. Philip, a few words from you. Who you are? What are you doing here? Are you happy or miserable?
I'm very happy. Actually, I'm very privileged as well, because the first ever webinar of the Commerce Weavers, it's a big privilege. So thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure.
I'm Philip. I'm product owner and coach at Fusonic. We're a software company that has been founded nearly 20 years ago in Austria at the Swiss border. Mm-hmm. And we have been doing all kinds of software projects from A to Z. So it's not only, usually software companies would start with web pages and stuff, but it has really become much more than that in the past years. So we have been doing enterprise solutions, products for production, products for major corporations. We did all the whole bingo. So CRM, BI, big data, you name it. And among other things, we're also doing e-commerce with Mofakult being our biggest customer.
Great. So maybe a few words about Mofakult. They are the spare parts seller of two-stroke mopeds. I don't know exactly. If have you ever driven or ride a moped?
I have, as I would say 3-year-old on my mother's Puch Maxi.
Okay.
We went swimming, I believe. At least that's what the pictures say. So as a 3-year-old, that would be 40 years ago.
Okay.
That's what it is. And recently, I've ridden also a Puch Maxi of a good friend of mine. But I'm not a regular moped rider. I have to admit that. In my youth, I rather invested my money in, let's say, restaurants.
With soft drinks, obviously.
With refreshing drinks, yes.
Refreshing drinks, yeah, because it's very hot in Austria in the summer. Anyway, I think I also was I was a passenger of a moped when I was very young at the countryside. I don't remember much. I think it was lucky that I didn't fall from it. But I was very much surprised how big business you can do actually with mopeds. I was thinking like with electric cars, coming up and all this revolution in automotive, there are still people in love with these old vehicles. And I tried, to find some research, and I used ChatGPT of how many Swiss people actually use mopeds. And there is a research saying from 20 years ago, so I don't know what is the situation right now, that 5% of the population, so around 450,000 of Swiss people would use a moped. I'm not sure if it's true. Maybe you can say if it somehow compares to the Mofakult's user base, but
it could. So
Okay.
what we're seeing is that Mofakult has over 200,000 customers, which is just amazing. I mean,
Nice.
not regular customers, but actually really accounts that have ordered at least once. And that's really amazing. And I think they're not only a spare part vendor, but they're actually doing much more. So for one thing, they're just trying to keep the cult alive, not in a religious sense, but the iconic
Yeah, because I
mopeds
I
alive.
use the word how to be the cult
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean I wanted this title to be a little bit clickbait and controversial. How to build e-commerce
Obviously,
for a cult, because
obviously.
partially it is a cult. I mean it's some
Yeah,
kind of I don't know, love. It's a
yeah,
passion basically. There is a nice comment from Mark Essers on YouTube. Four wheels moves the body to the soul.
yeah. Love it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think Mark is also building something similar in Germany for their clients, also with Sulu and Sylius.
Oh, nice. Get in
Yeah,
touch.
maybe we have to talk about it later. Joppe is asking if we are coming to Amsterdam. I guess it's about SymfonyCon happening in November. Yes, we are. At least Łukasz, Mateusz, and me, so the three co-founders of Commerce Weavers, we are coming for sure. But let's get back to our core story. So, how it all started, like it's a basic question, but you told me there were 3 people at Mofakult when
Yeah,
you were first contacted.
yeah, yeah. So Mofakult has been a customer of Fusonic for around 10 years, even. They themselves started as a youth project. So Mark, the actual founder of Mofakult, started at the age of, I think even before 18, to sell spare parts on the Swiss eBay. So eBay hasn't really got the strong presence in Switzerland. So it's ricardo.ch in Switzerland. And he soon found out that he might have found a very nice niche. So it was always his hobby to fiddle with mopeds, fiddle around and tune them and so on. And that actually grew that business on the Swiss eBay, and he created a fantastic company out of it. And they actually really have a very important key factor that really distinguishes them from competitors. They're not only buying parts and selling them to others. I mean, we're talking about old timers here. So some parts just don't exist anymore. So what they do,
They
yeah,
produce them.
they're like some of those mopeds are 60 years old, which also explains somehow the cult behind it. And so what they do is they construct the parts themselves, produce them, and they're practically the only place you can actually get them in some cases, which is pretty nice.
Have you ever seen their production line, or it's like a small manufacturer with in some workshop?
I believe they have a few prototyping workshops in Switzerland, Germany, and Austria. So they're suppliers, their initial suppliers. But as soon as it becomes to mass production, well, you need to move to countries that have less wage impact on the product. So as soon as they have a few hundred produced and they see that it goes well in the shop, they would move to mass producers, which unfortunately nowadays are more likely to be found in the East.
Yeah, obviously. So it's like maybe not high-end product, but very, let's say, niche and
they are high-end.
sophisticated product. They are high-end in some terms.
Yeah, they have high. So they have a few own brands. So they have a Swiss Ingenious Engineering Swing, which is a high-quality brand, for example. And they also have more affordable brands like GPO, which also practically produce the same parts, but which are more affordable and maybe don't last 200 years, but maybe 100.
Still good enough. Okay. Yeah. And do you remember the first moment where you started the collaboration? Because before Sylius there was Magento, and I'm interested about, with this about this background. Like you remember the times when you were still kind of maintaining the old Magento shop, or what was the first maybe challenge and the request to change something?
Well, basically, I was hired to introduce a new shop for them.
Okay.
So
You are the change agent.
Kind of.
Okay.
So the first thing I remember is meeting their founder and their now co-CEO at a Fusonic party even. And I told them, guys, it looks like I'm entering the stage, and it sounds like you guys need an ERP. And they looked at me in a very disgusted way. But who is this? Number one.
Who likes them? Yeah.
And what the hell does he want from us?
Even without knowing the abbreviation, they already didn't like it.
They knew what an ERP is.
They knew the abbreviation. Okay.
Of course. And then, well, actually, the first 1.5 years, I mean, it was crazy times, right? I joined 2019. Money was free, so no interest rates on the banks. With zero or actually negative interest rates. Who cares if you loaned money from the bank?
Beautiful times.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Not sure. I mean, back then it seemed beautiful, probably.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure if that was beautiful times because everybody was over busy. The whole market was overheated. And so were we. So I remember times at Fusonic when customers or potential customers called and we had to say, sorry, we could squeeze you in like in a year from now. That was just really crazy. So yeah, that was the time when I joined. So the first 1.5 years after I joined, we didn't even have people to develop a new shop for them. So it was really about maintaining Magento. And the first thing we did was creating a magic button.
Which did what? What was the purpose for this button?
Well, the ones who know Magento 1.9, in order to print a delivery notice, an invoice, and we also had to create a picking list so they could actually pick goods from the warehouse. There had to be so many clicks from you in the UI for one single order that you would probably have an inflammation at your finger at the end of the day if you did 300 orders. And that was a huge pain. And also the Magento backend was very, very slow. And so we did a customization for them where they just had to click and it would print them the next 12 orders that were ready for picking. And so invoice, delivery note, email to the customer, and actually also picking list for the warehouse in one click for 12 orders. And they could go and drink a coffee in the meantime because it was that.
Indeed, a magic button.
It was a magic button. Everybody loved it.
And the integration with ERP, was it already working or you implemented it?
There was no ERP to speak of. So it was merely an ERP plugin for Magento. And it was very, very rudimentary. So yeah, and they also used it in a very rudimentary way. So yeah, like a very small company.
So okay, we have a small company with probably over-engineered platform for their purposes, which
Maybe.
is, I guess so. I mean, Magento is really, really complex, so maybe it was too early for them. And I guess that was one point. The second point was no ERP or poor ERP integration, also a slow store probably.
Yeah.
Can you point any other problems apart from, I guess, end of life, which came in 2018, and they were still on Magento in 2019, right?
Yeah. So a few months after end of life of Magento 1.9, it became more and more urgent to change to something else. I mean, there has been an active community, as I understand, an open source community that is still kind of maintaining 1.9, because I believe there's still hundreds, if not thousands, of shop outs.
I think dozens of thousands, and there are people that are making money only with, maintaining the forks or Hyvä theme, everything that made the old Magento shine again. Yeah.
Indeed. So, but anyway, we didn't want to rely on inofficial sources, I would say. And we went into a big evaluation phase because they actually wanted to grow. They said Switzerland is not enough. It needs to be the world, and it needs to be fast.
Okay.
And both of those things were not possible with Magento 1.9.
I believe so. Okay, so evaluation process. This is what you said, and it's always like ringing a bell in my head. I'm always curious of this, like, because I'm always coming from one side, promoting Sylius, advertising how Sylius is, how good Sylius is. I'm also trying to be honest, and if Sylius is not a good fit, I always tell it. But then you were at the side of actually making the decision. Did you have like a full trust of leading the decision process?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had full trust. We were also very transparent about the evaluation. So basically, we had the notorious Excel list that you also contributed in a way. So a very big list of features that were required. So like current features and also features that they wanted in the future. And I mean, as a developer-driven company, which we were 5 years ago, we had our developers taking a look at shop frameworks. And because we're doing both PHP and .NET in-house, it was basically a race of PHP shop frameworks against .NET shop frameworks.
Okay.
And .NET was so behind with everything. So I think we had like 1 or 2 contenders on .NET side. And PHP was much more lively. So better community, better frameworks.
People keep on saying PHP is dead. If PHP is dead, what about .NET?
Exactly.
It's like underground.
Why do they say that? The web is built upon PHP. I just don't get it.
Because there are so many shiny new frameworks and languages coming up every second year. So you just have to be, up on the front. Anyway, so there is always an Excel file, and you decided that you narrow down your choices to PHP first.
Not really.
Platforms. Not really. Okay.
So, well, first, basically, we had to take a look at. I mean, you don't build a shop from scratch on your own because it's just usually it's a lot of work. So you want to get an easier first step into a project, which makes a user framework. And the existing frameworks that we took a look at, obviously only open source would come into play because we wanted to extend and actually actively develop with it. And the one that our developers liked most was Sylius.
Love it.
Yeah,
it's always coming down. From developers to tech leads to CTOs who have to convince the boards to finally select the Sylius. It's always, this way. It's very, very rarely there is a manager, selecting Sylius.
But at the same time, I must say that Sylius also got a higher score from feature-wise. So hold on, maybe I.
That's interesting. I remember because I was the sales guy, the core sales guy at Sylius at the time. I mean, I hate saying I'm a sales guy, but partially I am. but I'm trying to change.
Sales guy.
Yeah, I'm trying to change how people see sales guys. Anyway, I remember you were.
I can actually share this if you're interested.
You were so kind and you shared it with me. Like, why Sylius? And there was a comparison to Shopware at the final stage, which I was happy that we won. We were so happy.
I can't share this on the screen. Hold on. Because
maybe you have to.
Yeah, hold on. I'm sharing it right now.
You have to go to the presentation mode, I guess.
I think I am. Yeah.
There you go.
It's German. But here you can actually see. I mean, I can openly share this because it's a state of 5 years ago, right? Today it might look different. But there was Shopware 6 and Sylius were actually the best containers on PHP side that fulfilled our feature needs, I would say. And on .NET side, there was no commerce and virtual commerce. Not so good on feature side and also not on code. I would say maintainability and readability. So actually, and in all honesty, Sylius won by points, not only by friendliness. So that's
was close.
It was close. I admit that. That's
But
basically the
you have
reason.
to admit that everything changed since the moment you met me, and then you just believed it's a good solution, right?
I'm very sorry to say we
No,
decided because of the numbers.
it's always better. Never trust smiling guys.
Never trust a
Um,
sales guy.
never trust a sales guy, even from Sylius community. Okay, but that was actually interesting that SEO was quite high with Sylius. I would never
Yeah,
say it.
yeah,
I would never say there is a good SEO feature set in Sylius. Maybe the customizability and the readiness to adjust it to the SEO needs, but out of the box, that's surprising.
yeah.
Okay, so you selected Sylius, which I'm very happy of, because we would never start talking today if it wasn't for Sylius.
That's true.
And then the rest of the architecture set, because it's quite complex, and we are getting to the meaty part where you can probably share
Yeah.
the really advanced chart of Mofakult architecture. I think the major player there was Sulu as well, and I think it is coming down also to the fact that Sulu was like, their offices and the people were close by, right? Because you are all from the same Austrian region.
By coincidence.
Coincidence, totally?
Complete
Okay.
coincidence. So I'm currently sharing my screen if you want to involve it. I'd be happy to say a few words about this. So we knew that we wanted to have. Hold on, where did we start? We started here. You want to tell the customer a story. So ERP focus Gen 1, Gen 2, shop
I've been
focus.
always telling the same story.
Now,
Always the same.
yes, microservices. Everybody knows these stories. But anyway,
Best of breed.
Best of breed. That was our approach, and we supported Mofakult to evaluate the ERP, and there were two final contenders. So this was an integrator of Comarch, a once upon a time Austrian ERP, then German, and now Polish, I believe. And Actindo was, I would say, a relatively hip startup. They had the best UI, and also they were also Symfony based, if I'm not mistaken. So that battle was decided for Polynorm, the integrator, integrating Comarch. And then we still had three, I would say, best of breed choices to do. The shop was decided for Sylius. PIM, fortunately, was out of scope, because if we also would have had a PIM, would probably have delayed the project even more.
But this is very interesting, because PIM implementations are very sexy. The last 5 years, PIM is going up and up in terms of, let's say, the technology recognition, how customers see the PIMs, how they kind of appreciate the need for a PIM.
Yeah.
And you decided not to go with a PIM. So maybe
for a simple reason,
complexity.
So we already had to build an API towards Comarch, and that one was
on the slide, by the way.
No, well, it was actually the company. So Polynorm was Comarch.
I see. Okay.
So we had integrators that actually came in a kind of an application process to Mofakult, and it was these guys representing Comarch. So PIM was out of scope because we just didn't want to add additional complexity, and because of Comarch having relatively decent PIM functionality. So it's not as nice and shiny as an Akineo or a PIM core maybe, but it's usable. And if we could have everything, so all functionality in one, the decision was made that we're just going with the ERP actually, and do the PIM maybe later. And then and this is a very, very honest sentence here, we asked you guys, so at that time, you guys, the Commerce Weavers weren't founded yet.
Yeah.
Actually, Sylius. Okay, guys, so CMS, which ones were the one that you had the most successful integrations with? Can you recommend some? And those were the Sylius
recommendations.
Recommendations.
I guess they were exactly my recommendations. But I'm happy. I mean, I would probably repeat them.
You would?
I guess so. Like maybe I would add Strappy here.
All right.
I don't know. There are so many CMSs. I have a very
Yeah.
extensive file of CMS comparison and how they integrate with Sylius if anyone is interested. But yeah, Sulu was already successful because we knew the Brille 24, the big optician player in
Yeah.
Germany, using
Yeah.
Sulu. And yeah, Max Pesch, I think he's also with us here on the webinar, or maybe at least he wanted to join. So Max, kudos to you because you were one of the orchestrators of this integration, and then we could recommend the same setup for other customers, which turned out to be good.
And indeed, they also won by points.
Mm-hmm.
And only after they won by points, we found that, hey, actually, they're just like 2 cities away from us. And let's team up. Why shouldn't we?
Cool. And there is another major app, let's say, on the front end that you haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah.
But was it already discussed back then, or you focused strictly at the back end at the beginning?
It was basically a decision of React versus Twig, because it would be the Sulu front end, and Angular. And we only had Angular front end devs at our company at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And the customer specifically asked for a lightning fast front end, the best ever.
Okay.
I'm hearing Trump in my ear. I'm sorry.
It's the best front end ever. You have never seen a better front end. I'm telling you, we're making a good progress with this front end.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm Trump.
I see you get carried away. No worries. And it should feel like an app. And at that time, having very experienced people also on board at Fusonic, we decided that if it should feel like an app, it can only be an Angular server-side rendered single-page application, which is what it has become.
Okay, excellent. I think we are behind the selection process, so we could go a little bit also to the timeline. When it all started, 2019, you joined 2020 beginning. I remember our first talk, and then the project started somewhere in 2021.
Yeah, something around that time.
Okay,
at the moment,
I'm gonna throw a bomb on you. 2.5 years of development.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It's like a lot of business owners, like when they hear, I need 2.5 years to migrate an e-commerce, I'm not going this way. Give me Shopify. Give me something. Yeah.
Give me Shopify. Yeah. I still think that the choices that we made at that point were the right ones. The customer asked for a Rolls Royce, and we tried to deliver the Rolls Royce, and I believe we actually also are at the point of a Rolls Royce. So anybody listening here, if you go to mofakult.de ATCH, CH is maybe a bit slower right now because we have AB lift active, AB testing. So you could see some things moving around on the client while the site loads. But if you want to get the vanilla front end, you would have to go to any other domain than .ch. And I believe it's just so fast. There is no, at least personally, I haven't found a shop that is comparable in speed.
Okay, challenge accepted.
Yes.
Anyone, you can test Mofakult store and show us a faster store. Of course, we can battle, with the certain parameters because some might be higher, some might be lower, but I guess you did a tremendous job, and I believe it wouldn't be possible with a software as a service approach. What else can I say? I think also what's interesting from the perspective of so many years is why headless? Because I've been when I started with Łukasz and Mateusz, the Commerce Weavers company, I learned that headless is not always the best way. I mean, when I was at Sylius, I kept on saying, you got to go headless. You're going to be faster. Your front-end developers will work simultaneously to back-end developers. So many, advantages of headless. And now I see when we have an agency that sometimes it's better to go full stack. And you can also have tremendous results with your performance and everything. But so this is the question. Can you defend that headless was necessary, that all this Angular app is necessary?
At that time, or do we want to answer that question first?
Yeah, we want to. I mean, it's somehow it's somehow
Related.
connected to. Yeah, it's related. How did you get the stack that fast? Yeah, go
Maybe
on. I think it's related.
Maybe I can show the C4 model in a minute, which will explain quite a lot.
Okay.
But how would I defend headless? 5 years ago, it was like 12-year-olds talking about sexual intercourse. Can I say this stream?
I already
Everybody wants to do it, but nobody knows how. Right?
Exactly. Right.
And the same thing was true for headless.
Mm-hmm.
And just because nobody has properly done it on a big scale, we saw the benefits of it. Mm-hmm. And working with best of breed, it was self-understood for us. But at the same time, we discovered on the way that we were a bit early.
Yeah. It's also our fault because we kept on promising that Sylius is headless ready.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest, as I said, I will be honest. We were not ready. I mean, we started the huge process of writing the new APIs to Sylius, which were supposed to provide the headless-like flow and the feeling. But you cannot keep on saying that you're headless ready when you have like 10%, 20%, 30%. With every new release, we just had like another tiny part of our core stack, covered with APIs. So we were far from headless.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry for that.
But
you managed. You
You
managed.
We did manage. So basically everything we touched that was kind of promised to be headless was not headless at all. So no plugin. Sylius itself was not headless. The most headless thing that we actually got into our hands was Sulu.
Okay, so congrats.
They were also just starting to go down that road, but they were relatively ready, I would say. On Sylius side, no. That was a lot of custom work that you needed.
So there was definitely a hype train that everybody wanted to join, and it seemed like Sylius is AI ready. If I told you something like that, never believe me, because there are some first steps towards the AI models, learning the construction of Sylius files and everything, or there is an AI in the documentation that can fetch you results if you ask about something, but that's it.
And who is not AI ready today, right? You have to say, because nobody will actually choose you or even look at you if you say differently.
Yeah, and here is the wonderful graph. I thought that maybe we're gonna have a look at it later, but we can already go into it.
Maybe this is an answer to Mama Zoo's 1995 question. How did we get the stack that fast?
Yeah. Go on.
Basically, it's all in memory. So whatever you see on the shop front end, it's all in memory. So maybe I even opened the page. Not CH because it's being A/B tested right now, but maybe the E. So even clicking on it and putting stuff into the card and going to the card and going to the account, it's just crazy fast. Yeah. The only way you can actually do this is if you have everything in memory, and this is where we actually are looking at CloudFront. So we're in AWS and Varnish. So These two are huge support. CloudFront is caching images. I believe also HTML, if I'm not mistaken. No, that's done on Varnish side. And yeah, so if you're fully cached 100% of the time, and there is no need to go down into Sulu, which checks the database, or into Sylius, which checks the database, aggregates the data, and then responds with the data to you, that will always take probably 1-2 seconds until you actually see stuff. But if you cache it, if you cache everything, then, well, the only limit is your internet connection, basically. That's what it was.
I'm sorry, but isn't it like a very common way for example, a very buggy and slow Magento stores? They always
Yes,
have
it
this
is.
varnish caching, and it's suddenly fast.
Yeah,
So
it is. It is, but I'm still
Until it isn't.
wondering why not everybody does it, and why still so many stores feel that slow.
Still, you have to have a good backend, because sooner or later you're gonna find a bottleneck in the performance.
True.
So both sides are necessary. Okay, do we dive deep into this architecture right now? I guess people want it. Well,
Maybe, I mean, we're already looking at it.
Yeah, I have so many questions to it. Well, also I have other questions about the project in general. But yeah, let's go into it. Okay, so first of all, let's maybe start from the skeleton. Like, what is like the most crucial integration? I guess it's Sulu and Sylius, right? Or would you?
Yeah.
And you
So
build
you have
around it.
Sulu and the Enter database. You have Sylius Enter database, and you have Node.js, which is the backend of Angular, of the server-side rendered SPA. And I would say the fourth most important component is actually already Comarch ERP, which is gray because it's not under our control.
Okay.
Yeah, these are basically the backbones for everything. So for communication between those systems, we're using RabbitMQ. We're using Redis for cache and session storage, and we're using Elasticsearch, which is not a surprise because it's an industry standard. But
right.
Some of you may have noticed the arrow going to Sulu and not to Sylius, which may be weird.
That's what was my question. I usually say it other way around.
Yeah. It was a pragmatic solution. At that time, we had indeed two reasons. We had more dev power on Sulu side, and we had to deliver content commerce, So content commerce being, magazine. We want to tell stories and link to the shop. So this is content that links to the shop in all languages. It doesn't matter what language you're actually choosing. Oh no, it does, because they still have their magazine articles only in German. Forget what I said, but it's work in progress on the customer side. But you link to the shop, These pages are very, very, very popular among search machines because the stories are well written. And the link to the actual product to actually purchase it is just really a click away. And also the link to explaining how you actually exchange your tires. And we're going to do more content commerce even. This is how we actually cross-integrated Sulu into Sylius. And one of those reasons, or one of those results, was that we had to make decisions. On the one hand, we wanted to have products indexed and searchable within the fraction of a second, and content as well. And so the decision was either to have two elastic indexes, which would just enormously increase complexity, or have one. And so one either on Sulu or on Sylius side. The decision was done towards in favor of Sulu. Why? Because Sulu is a fantastic source that delivers you images not only on desktop size, but also in mobile resolutions. and
Nice.
all versions. So you can even have feeds going to Instagram or whatever social channel you want. Sulu does that for you out of the box. And it was just a very easy decision for us afterwards to say, okay, let's sync the products to Sulu, which added a bit more complexity, but it made things easier for us with search.
Once you get into the mobile aspect, because I can say that, I mean, we all advertise Mofakult as the mobile first e-commerce. So how did you achieve it specifically? Is it thanks to Angular? Because you don't have an app, but it feels like you in the browser.
It is an app.
It is an app.
It is an Angular app. So
Exactly.
that's one of the things that we always criticize Google for. I mean, they don't care because we're very small. But if you're looking at the PageSpeed web dev, our app is not rated very quickly or very highly. Why is that so? Because on initial load, you need to load the app, which takes, I don't know, maybe 2.5 seconds or so. And because you're actually loading the whole app, the whole framework onto your local system. And when you click on it, so page to page speed is crazy fast, but unfortunately that's not taken into the calculation by Google. They only rate initial page load speed and not page to page speed, which they probably should, because they built Angular. It's their framework even. So yeah. By the way, this is my app blocker playing tricks on the page. Yeah, he's blocking a lot of stuff.
I can see the guys on the chat, also Max and Olivier, they are pretty hyped with the Sulu 3.0 coming up.
Yeah.
Or it's already there, or it's upcoming?
I believe the alpha version was announced by them a few days ago, if I'm not mistaken. And I think every dev is looking forward to PHP-CR being gone very soon. Yeah, everybody's looking forward to it.
Yeah, and about Sulu, because I'm really amazed with the app-like feeling, but also I'm very curious about fetching the data from the backend. So how did you achieve this level of communication in between the systems? Is it thanks to some special integration you did, or a middleware, or because the data has to be
It's basically a queue that we built from the ERP and that goes through all the systems. So yeah, it starts. So we have multiple single sources of truth. Comarch is the single source of truth for products, product master data, and actually also for categories. So all these categories and the allocation of products into the categories comes from the ERP. That is synced with Sylius, that syncs it to Sulu for search purposes. And all of that is actually handled by RabbitMQ, which is actually also quite nice to demo. I just realized that now. Hold on.
Let's see.
So what you see here is, okay, we have production and stage, but these are all the queues that we're actually doing. We're queuing customers. MISC is always a very popular one when you don't know where to put it. We're syncing products. We have an ERP push queue. We have a Sulu queue. Calcula. Ooh, I'm already showing stuff that isn't even live yet.
Sneak peek.
Sneak peeks. Yeah, so
nobody from Mofakult is watching for sure.
I'm not sure. Yeah, so RabbitMQ is doing an amazing job of helping us to have everything in eventual sync. And that's also something that you only realize when you're working at it. Everybody who has a university education has been hearing, oh yeah, distributed databases, there is eventual consistency. What does that actually mean in real life? Yeah, you only find out the hard way when you're actually working with it, with distributed databases, because nothing is ever in the same state as the other system. It's eventually after a few, if you're lucky, seconds, if you're unlucky, minutes, they have the same state.
So how fast are you with syncing? Are you satisfied, or
Um,
it's like never-ending optimization story?
well, we had a time in the beginning where we had to tune. Basically, cron jobs were killing each other. And yeah, Mama Zoo says queues are a blessing and a curse at the same time. They are. They are. Um, but we have queues, for example, the order queue. It goes instantly to the ERP, so they can instantly pick the goods they actually want. So the trigger goes back to ERP. We have the products queue that is like triggered every 3 minutes to Sylius. Sometimes we just get empty responses from the ERP, which we just ignore. Sometimes we get invalid ones. That happens too, which we ignore. We have other queues like the customer queue. So if they change something in the customer data from the ERP, it's I believe a 5-minute queue. Basically, it's prime figures. You know, we had to time it in a way that they don't conflict with each other. So we didn't build the common. Okay, there is a cron every full hour, but we had to go like 3 minutes past, 5 minutes past, 7 minutes past. What's the next prime figure? 11, 13, and so on and so on.
It's quite impressive. I've seen many stores that are syncing data like only once every night or something. You're doing it you're doing it every 3 minutes, so it's great. Can we dive into Sulu, like to the backend of Sulu? I was very curious to see the integration in action. Is there any part of the Sulu administration that shows that there is actually the integration going between Sulu and Sylius?
You can see it in real time.
Why not use the consume command with limits and run it in a while loop?
Yeah, we do that. So obviously we have limits. We're not consuming all the messages from the ERP at once because that would slow us down. So we're doing both. Basically, we're running cron jobs in a way that they don't conflict with each other in any way, and also we consume only a part of the messages, the ones that we actually know should be able to process within the given time. So we're actually double secured, if you want, yeah, because we had our fair amount of issues with that, to be completely honest.
Obviously, there is no implementation without issues.
No,
come on.
No, there isn't. I mean, what you can see here, the link between the ERP and the front end is in Sulu Web Spaces. So this basically reflects the mega dropdown. This is what we get. This is what we get from the ERP until here. So this is purely ERP. This is custom pages that they actually created in Sulu themselves. Whenever they would change something here, it would get overwritten by the sync from the ERP within 15 minutes. Because the single source of truth for categories is just happening is done in the ERP. Same for products. So Sulu has a product bundle. You can actually look at products. And they're completely synced with the ERP and also with Sylius. You could enrich product data now with additional marketing data here in Sulu if you want. We disabled that for now. So for now, Mofakult doesn't need it, but it's possible that you just add, I don't know, you have Christmas sale and you want to add, I don't know, special images, special text, whatever to a given set of products. You could do that here in Sulu too. We just disabled that for now.
But why is it disabled at the daily, operations? The marketers of Mofakult, where do they add this promotion stuff?
For now, they're doing promotion stuff more in a visual style. They have their daily deal that attracts customers on a daily basis because everybody wants to know what's cheap today.
And this is configurable in Sylius administration.
This is configurable in Sylius indeed. So we have daily offers. It's a custom integration where you can actually add. Yeah, this tells you what you shouldn't add.
This is how it should be. So promotions are configured in e-commerce because promotions are the closest to e-commerce itself,
obviously,
right?
Obviously, yeah. So this is a completely custom integration, and the rest they're more or less doing with very nice imagery, and they always had nice images. So I really think this really puts the shop apart from comparable shops. Yeah. Even before AI, I mean, today everybody can do amazing images. But right. Even before AI, they were very big on marketing. I think they were very professional.
I mean, they just look cool. It's like a fashion brand. They know how to approach the marketing, definitely.
Yeah. And also, if you're looking at the parts, if you're in any given category, you would have, I don't know, chains maybe. You would have all the chains handpicked and pictured or photographed in the same angle, always in the same angle, and everything put there in the same place, which is like a huge amount of work, but it adds that much more a luxurious look actually to a shop.
Yeah, it's very aesthetic. So I really want to understand, the operations part as a non-tech person. If I am to, explain to people who would like to have a similar setup, what would you say? Like when the product is added, it's added to ERP. So everything is configured there, like even the assets, all the media as well.
Yeah.
And that was a conscious decision, to keep, let's say, operators in one back office, I guess.
Yeah.
In order not to interfere with apps that might, get ugly if you misuse something, right?
Exactly.
Okay, and Commerce ERP, it must be allowing all these operations. I have never seen it from the from the inside, but it's just, let's change that. Yeah, it's just not so common, in the modern world to do all the product management in ERP.
It's not, and but you can do it.
Oh, so shit. This is what I thought. I mean,
this is test data anyway.
So no, that was not my reaction to the data. That was my reaction to the layout. How
it's
looks.
90s. It's an ERP. 90s. What were you expecting?
I was expecting something similar, but I am shocked no matter what.
Yeah. So you can actually set up items as you would in a PIM in Comarch ERP. So Comarch is, I don't want to promote them or anything, or I don't get money from them, but they're actually relatively popular among e-commerce.
Come on, they are also a Polish software. At least it started in Poland.
No, it started in Austria, didn't it? Yeah, let's not.
It started in Poland. It started in Poland. It was bought by some Austrian company.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So anyway, you can basically do anything in this article mask. You can do basically anything you can do in a PIM. Maybe not in such a sexy way as you would be able to do it in Akineo or PIM core, but it offers anything they need. And I mean, as soon as they press that save button, they initiate a sync to Sylius and another sync to Sulu because we want to have it searchable.
Okay, so it's ugly, but it's feature rich.
Yeah,
it works. Most of the 90s systems.
It works, and it is browser based. So that's not self-understood, not even today.
You're right. Okay, I'm gonna defend Comar a little bit more after this presentation. Yeah. Okay, and then what data is synced to Sylius? Because I'm trying to understand also, I mean, I'm playing a little bit of a fool because I know the project a little bit better than I'm pretending to be. But because there are two approaches. I mean, you can directly communicate with the front end and to the end customer via CMS or via e-commerce.
Yeah.
And what is your choice? Does Sylius talk to the front end?
Sylius talks to the front end. So we have, hold on. There is a slide about this. I'm just looking for it. Where is it?
So they
Because
both, okay, the
people
answer
ask
is
this
both.
question.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. So what you see here is cacheable data, and some data is just not cacheable, but needs to be you need to be able to get it in real time, especially things like this. Oh, we're in Germany. Okay, yeah, that's not good.
Doesn't matter.
Switzerland. Okay, this usually would tell you if you order within blah blah blah. A/B test is running, so that's the reason why it doesn't do it now. If you order within an hour and 22 minutes or something, you get your stuff tomorrow at 9 earliest or something like that. And this information needs to be current. So this actually is going to Sylius shop. So obviously this is the Angular single page application, but requests from the single page application, the green ones would go to the shop. Also user data, cart, wish lists goes all to the shop in real time. And all the red stuff that is cacheable would go to Sulu CMS.
Nice. And the other way around, like they have to be bilaterally connected, right? The sync is both ways, obviously.
Sylius Sulu?
Yeah, no, Sylius and Sulu to the front end.
Sylius and Sulu have both endpoints to the front end that you can request data, where you can request data from. Yeah.
And did you implement some middleware, like to make this data properly synced, or?
Yeah, it's not very nicely visible here, but we have kind of a sync middleware. Probably would be something like a layer here that makes sure that data that coming from the ERP has proper integrity, is being synced with Sylius. If certain triggers happen in Sylius, this middleware then would also fetch the data, put it into the queue again, and it's synced to Sulu. So it's probably like a control middleware that does the necessary checks and handovers.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to make it clear, for the viewers, like to make them understand why you need a separate CMS and Sylius and how they all connect with the front end.
Yeah.
And the answer is simple, like Sylius doesn't have an advanced content management, as simple as that. So Sulu got to be in place. And what I wanted to also understand is how you use the new Sulu feature, Sulu AI. We already talked about it briefly. We said that there has to be an I in the webinar, right?
Yeah, there's been AI. I can show you. We're alpha testers of Sulu AI. Let's take a look at this page maybe. So whenever you click into a field, you would get all this magic stuff that we're now used to nowadays in modern UIs. You get writing assistant. So how can Sulu help you? I don't know. Add two more words to this heading, and it would actually do it. Yeah, whatever. If it makes sense or not, it's up to you. So there are writing assistants for headlines, pretty much for every field that you have here, for intro texts. And the nice thing is, we obviously have 4 languages. When you're working for a Swiss company, you're already working in the edge case.
Of course.
Switzerland has 4. Actually, they have 5 languages, 4 major languages. Romansh, unfortunately, isn't spoken as widely as German, French, English, and Italian. Yeah, so that was also one aspect that we highly appreciate of Sulu. You can just easily switch between the languages or the versions of a page and actually maintain it like this very easily. But setting up new languages is a huge pain in the A, where Sulu again helps you. So here you have a translation feature, which I'm very proud to say, built for us. And with a click of a button, you would have everything translated into the new language that you would need. I'm very sorry for all those translation offices, because wow, I think AI wasn't a very good deal for them. And it's very practical
Yeah,
with this
for
integration.
many industries, I guess AI is a threat, but also you can use it to be better in what you do and not lose your job too fast, I hope.
Yes.
And still you need a stamp to confirm sometimes that the translation is official, right?
You do.
Yeah, and by the way, another Polish accent. I checked, and Komar is coming from Poland. Originally, it was created in Poland in 90s.
My bad.
But I guess it's not Polish anymore. And DeepL, the language model that is used by Sulu AI, is also Polish.
Is it?
Sorry, it is. Yeah, it's written
Yeah.
by Polish developers. So sorry, I had to be a little. I had to be partially, at least, patriotic.
Kudos to you guys. Amazing job.
Thank you. Also, but I didn't do anything. I'm just from Poland, and I'm happy about it. Okay, another question. What didn't you like about Sylius?
What didn't we like about Sylius? What initially comes to my mind is API platform. It was a very, very big pain in the A. I still partly see you as a Sylius person.
Yeah.
So, and it was also you at that time.
It's not my fault. It's actually Łukasz's fault.
I know. He's probably sitting behind you somewhere and trying to hide.
He was here, but I think he already went home. He knew we would talk about him.
He knew we would talk about it. Now he's hiding.
Okay, so there's still a question about languages. Can you answer?
The availability to keep languages sync. How do you manage the availability to keep languages sync?
Yeah, I also don't get the full meaning of this question.
Maybe you can add a bit more context to that question.
Yeah, I guess the sync of the translation is always there once the translation is made.
Yeah, maybe I can explain a bit. So hold on, I'm still sharing my screen.
Yeah, you are.
So this is obviously English, and it makes no sense that I'm saving this, but I just will. This is the page for the responsible. I'm on the, hold on, where I am for the responsible. I changed the English version, so I'm going to the English version of the page. So we're mofakult.ch, and we have a for the responsible page, which is actually only visible if you click on the breadcrumb. So the English page, as you may have noticed, is doesn't seem to be right, because hold on, I just changed it, the English version in Sulu. So what's happening? What's happening is that, yes,
I hope you're on staging, right? It's not the live stream.
Oh my God. Actually, I'm here on live, and I'm here on staging. Yes, thanks for the heads up. Okay, now it already changed. But what we sometimes see, or what you would sometimes see, is if I'm doing this, save and publish, that if you reload, you already have this thing in your local browser cache, right? And you need to get rid of it. So yes, us devs are doing this. We're invalidating the current page with any query parameter. But this is also what happens when you first visit the page. So if you first visit the page and it has changed in the backend and saved, the first person to visit the page sees the old version. That's the speed strategy of Varnish cache. And only the second person, so actually Varnish would check while seeing the old version in the back end, is there a new version available after having served the old version? And if there is one available, it aggregates all data necessary, creates a new cache entry, and the next person automatically sees the new version. So that's how we actually keep the cache in check. How do we manage the availability to keep languages sync? Maybe that was answered maybe that was the answer, Francis. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe how do you keep the translation up to date when changing the source? I think you answered that.
Yeah. Maybe I can also give you guys a little glimpse into Localize. So we have a lot of stuff going on in Localize.
Okay, another app.
It's another service that we're using. So hold on. Poof. What could I search? Like something went wrong. Obviously, I don't find it right now. Something went wrong. Yeah, whatever. Let's go multilingual. So every time when we're doing, we have translation keys actually behind like 90% of the fields. And we're defining and we're creating our issues and our designs in German and English. And usually French and Italian is empty. So Localize gives you the chance. So if you have, I'm like cutting this out, I'm not deleting it. Gives you the possibility to very quickly translate what's given above using translation services. And the cool thing is you always have 3 suggestions, so you can actually make out the one that fits most to you. The problem is Mofakult is on a U level. It's not nicely translated in English, on an informal level. So it's not like Mr. Tim, but it's Tim. Hey man, how are you doing? That's the way Mofakult speaks to you. And wo is German, is French for the formal you, and this is the you. So it's like me, so the informal you. Okay. And this is always a big help when you have 3 services recommending stuff to you. Obviously, I'm pasting in the old value because this is already verified. But this is one way to keep everything in sync by translating using this translation service. Actually, we have a job that does this with every deployment, and we see, okay, a lot of German keys were added, and we would need to do English, French, and Italian. Most of it. Oh, here we have 7 French words to do. Look at this. And we would translate it. We would say save, and in the next deployment, it would automatically appear in the front end. If that answers the question, not sure.
I think it answers, I guess, but Francis can confirm.
Many ideas in one question.
Yeah. I think you even went an extra mile to show this service. Can you count how many services there are to actually keep the store like this going? I think dozens, or maybe at least 15.
To be honest, I haven't even included Localize into this C4 model.
Yeah.
There are a lot of them. I mean, if I'm just counting all the AWS services we're using, I think there are about 10 of them. And Localize is pretty much one of the few external services we're using. We're also using, Blackfire, to analyze API performance. We're using MailChimp to send emails, which is actually a given here, even on the C4 model. Where is it? Here you go.
Yeah.
Which is actually a plugin that nearly worked out of the box. So that was one of the few ones that were able to use.
One of not too many.
One of practically 0, yes.
And there is another plugin that nearly worked out of the box, which is Adyen plugin, right?
Yes, there was Adyen.
Yeah, I am on the verge of stepping into the payment space, but let's see what the guys say about the translations. I think Francis wanted to say if Sulu keeps the not translated languages somewhere on the dashboard. And the answer from Max is that currently you can't manage AI translations. You have to retranslate that in Sulu. Okay.
Yeah, hold on. So in Sulu, you would actually see, so if you change your language to any other language, you would go to web spaces, and stuff that is not published yet or doesn't have a page in the current language that you're on would have a yellow dot here. So that's the clear sign that this hasn't been translated. So if you go into this, you can either publish it, or if this page doesn't even exist, it shows you the E version exists here, for example. You can say, I'm on stage right here. You can actually say plus, And then you would say, you would be asked, do you want to copy the language? And usually you do. Translate full content, that's new to me. I think that was added by the AI plugin that we've been using on it for a few while now. Yeah, so let's do it. And okay, that was an easy one though.
Yeah, there was nothing to translate.
That was an easy one though. But this is fantastic. I just realized now that we can do this.
They are listening to us, and they know what you need for
Yeah,
for a
obviously.
system. Obviously,
Yeah.
AI is
Sulu
always
guys,
listening.
Sulu guys, we love them. They're so
Yeah.
great. Coming back to Trump phrases.
Yeah, we love them. Yeah, I can say a few words. We also have a great relationship with Sulu people as commerce weavers. It all started when we were at Sylius, and ever since, I guess it's still #1 CMS that I can firmly recommend because I have seen it in action in a few really, really complex implementations. We collaborate on other projects as well, so highly recommended if you're looking for a CMS for Sylius. I think it's a way to go, simply. Both are based on Symfony, so yeah, and there is a huge relationship also between the vendors because Sylius guys from the Sylius company also are in touch with Sulu guys. Very easy and very comfortable to work with.
There has been a Sylius CMS plugin though, right? They have advertised something recently.
Yeah, they have developed a Sylius CMS plugin, which is, again, to my point about the full stack implementations that are easier than all this best of breed and headless approach. I guess there are many cases where the native CMS is good enough, but the truth is that the Sylius CMS is not yet there. Like, there are not so many content features yet implemented into it, but I think they will grow it because sometimes it's nice to have everything in one panel, even for the operations. But both approaches are correct. It depends simply on the business case. Okay, we have a question from Robbie. What controls refunds, return merchandise, authorization, for example, partial refunds? Is it ERP and you sync Sylius with all that changes to the orders?
Yeah. So,
robię strony po polsku, actually. If I say in Polish, robi is not Robbie like Rob Robert, it's I'm doing websites, robię strony.
Oh, really?
Nice. Yeah. I just realized that.
Very good question, because that's where it gets complicated. So payments are done in Sylius.
Mm-hmm.
So only Sylius. Well, maybe I would need to go a bit back to your initial question. The Adyen plugin, we don't use it anymore.
Let's go.
So Adyen, to be fair, it was among the plugins that were not headless ready.
Yes.
Yes, and our experience with their API was not overwhelming, and we had a lot of problems with it. I believe it works well with default Sylius frontend.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it must, because they're a huge company. They probably have proper QA, but it was not usable for us with a headless setup. We had a lot of struggles with it and fought for months, but we always had an error rate of about 3 per 1,000 orders that got just stuck in some way, in some unexplainable way. And we finally got fed up with it. And thanks to the Commerce Weavers, we now have a very nice Molly integration done from scratch. I think the Molly integration took us I would really like to say like a third of the time that we used to debug on the Adyen integration. Maybe it's really like that. So the full integration of Molly was much more streamlined and painless than fighting with Adyen, which was probably not their fault because we used it headless and they didn't build it for headless integration.
Well, it's partially my fault again because I was the one to recommend Adyen. But
thank you again.
Back then in 2020, that was the only operator that promised to deliver twinned payment. which is a crucial payment for the Swiss market, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. And now you have it with Molly, obviously, but back then it was the only way forward, actually. And again, not understanding the agency side when you just feel like, okay, it's advertised, it's API ready. So I kind of believe it. So, well, and then you get into it and it wasn't ready. So never overpromise. But there was also another problem that you have a specific approach to payment flow because you are closing or authorizing payments before order completion.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, but back then it was your choice to do it like this for various business reasons, and it totally messed, the standard Adyen integration. So we kept on maintaining it as long as we could, and then we replaced it with Molly. Also, like customized integration, we didn't use any plugin for it, and we are happy right now. Hopefully,
we are.
Yeah, and Mofakult is happy, which is even better.
Actually, I'm not sure if they're completely happy because they never say anything or a lot about Molly, but that's how it is in our country, right? That's the best praise if you don't hear anything.
If something works, then you don't talk about it, yeah. But getting back to the question, what controls refunds, partial refunds? Is it ERP? Or is it Sylius? It's ERP.
So basically, we haven't integrated, it's planned, obviously, but we haven't integrated the RMA module yet in Sylius. It would be part of the Plus package. We fully realized that, but the focus was on other things first. So what happens now, Mofakult would receive a package in the warehouse, scans it. If the customer is kind enough to include the return sheet in the box, and they would actually book in the returned items in the ERP and control stuff, and they so check the parts they get, if they're used or not, blah blah blah. So the physical stuff, and then a refund would be triggered from the ERP. That's when Sylius gets an order update, but we still haven't fully automated it. So still in Sylius Admin UI, we integrated the refund plugin actually, where a Mofakult employee needs to press the refund button because it's money. You're sending money around the world, right? So if you're just pressing one wrong button in the ERP, and you would send a million to someone, well, you can still undo it in Sylius and just not click the button there.
So Sylius has the final word before the refund is actually triggered. Okay.
So Sylius has the relation to customer order number and maybe credit card or PayPal ID transaction number. Sylius is the only way you can actually refund it with the same payment method.
But can you also start the refund from the Molly dashboard?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. So standard way, yeah.
But then it would be decoupled from the Sylius order.
Okay, this way. Okay.
So Sylius dashboard or Sylius Molly dashboard doesn't communicate back if something was refunded in their dashboard. We only have the correct and the full history if we're doing it inside Sylius.
Okay. Francis is also asking if we could apply the same to Adyen. I think, of course, we could, but it's like, you have to imagine the reality from the 5 years ago and the today's reality. Sylius dev team has also done some tremendous work, upgrading the plugins and also the upgrade to Sylius 2.0. So I guess this software differs a bit from what we knew in the past. Yeah. Of course, if you start a new project, you should start a new evaluation. And never just trust this video. You have to collect the data from other sources as well. This specific use case was better for Molly. Anyway, both operators are big and trustworthy. I guess Molly is more focused on the small and mid market, and Adyen is definitely more focused on the enterprise market.
Yeah.
So maybe this is something you should consider as well from the customer service point of view. It makes the difference. I'm still remembering about my previous question, previous, which was about what you don't like in Sylius, and that was API platform. And I think, would you agree, it's also partially due to the fact that you started a project when the API platform coverage wasn't finished, or it's just because of the way API platform is architectured?
Both.
Both, okay.
Completely honestly, both.
Yeah, go
So
honestly.
yeah, obviously. I mean, we knew that the old API was at the end of its life. So it was it was an unfortunate moment when we actually started the project, because we knew we would have to go headless, and if an old API is already end of life and will be deprecated in one or two of the upcoming versions, you won't go with it, right? So
Right.
the only choice we had was to go with API platform, and it wasn't quite done. We also knew that, but it was just mind-blowing in a negative way how slow it actually was. So all the serialization that happened. Fortunately, the Commerce Weavers have done a fantastic job in the meanwhile to streamline all the API calls and also make everything way faster. So now we have calls that are as fast as I would say 200 milliseconds or below when we're looking for to aggregate order data or product data. It used to be way slower. So I'm not sure how the official integration, vanilla API platform integration in Sylius looks like, but at least our current state is very fast, but it also took many hours to get there. So this was a major pain point.
I wasn't implementing it, but as I was told, it's always the matter, how you do it from the very start, how the whole app is architectured. So like the simple rule probably is that with API platform, you have to be knowledgeable with the specific API platform as a framework. It's a framework with APIs. You have to know how to design them, but also there were some other things to optimize along the way. So I'm happy that we managed to do it. By the way, I think we didn't say too much about how it all started with us as well, because APIs were many things that we optimized, but we joined at the very beginning of our company in 2023, January. You were our first client that was signed even before we couldn't sign you before we had the official privately limited company, but we were already verbally agreed, and just like a week later we already had a customer, which is a crazy good feeling when you start a new company, which I'm very convenient. I'm very grateful on behalf of the whole Commerce Weavers team. A little bit of advertisement. Would you say you have seen the difference when we joined? What happened? Like, why did you decide to even invite us to the project?
I mean, we were at a point before you joined where we had already missed our first go live date, to be completely open.
Okay.
And the next one was at our doorstep, and there were just some problems, such as Adyen integration, that we were in over our heads with that. And obviously, we felt the difference because, Mateusz and Vukasz, I mean, they were Sylius at the time. They consulted us with some big questions. And for us, it was a very lucky situation that you decided to found your own company. So it was without question that we would welcome you with open arms. And yeah, the difference was obviously big. The speed, the momentum was great after you guys joined.
Thank you very much. We have a live reference for Commerce Weavers. It's already recorded. I will use it again in some kind of a reel for Instagram. But we are super grateful, Philip, again and again. I can keep on saying this. And a wonderful product owner to work with, by the way. It's been a pleasure always. Okay, is there any application remaining that we would like to talk about? I'm guessing shipping, for example. We haven't touched shipping. What happens from the logistics point of view? The customer selects a courier and then what?
Yeah, fortunately, that is very slim on Sylius side. The logic behind it is complicated, though. But basically, we have just some rule set and pass it all onto the ERP, who have APIs to GLS and Swiss Post, and we just don't care about that. So that's probably one of the less complicated things that we have.
Keep it simple. So no
yeah.
plugin to Sylius.
No.
Okay.
No.
And some marketing tools, like okay, you said already about the MailChimp for newsletters, I guess. Something for marketing automation. It's also MailChimp.
I would say. So Mofakult just recently got a new marketing lead person, and a very capable one too. And he just introduced Genable. It sounded to me, the first time I heard it, it sounded to me like the town Chernobyl, and I had that twice, but that was also why it actually stuck with me, you know. So Genable is, they actually are able to enrich the product feed that we also integrated into Sylius and provided to all the platforms that they want. And I think that's a very nice automation that they just recently added.
Okay, I think I've heard about it many years ago at the Dutch market. It was very popular back then. Yeah. In Poland, we have BaseLinker, which is now called Base. It's basically the same, like a massive product fit. Okay, and for keeping it in the marketing, the reviews. I think you've been using trusted shops for reviews, and right now.
Yeah, we do. That was also one of the reasons why you saw those red lines in my console, because Blade is blocking it by default.
Okay.
But obviously, trusted shops adds a label of trust to your shop. So if you see that, Mofakult does a great job with customer service and before and after purchase. And that's also the reason why they actually have a very high rating by their customer. I think this adds trust to your shop. This makes new customers. This lowers the barrier for new customers to actually purchase at your store. This is actually a rating of the shop. It has nothing to do with Sylius. So we need to distinguish between shop rating and product rating.
That was my question. Okay, my next question. So we are not using the Sylius reviews?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a big package that is only visible on our staging system and is being tested and still extended. So it will be a community package with some surprises, also with ratings, and also maybe some gamification. I don't want to tease too much.
Yeah, but I can imagine, given the fact that Mofakult is so much, community oriented.
Yeah.
These are like a natural features. Is there anything else specific for marketing of Mofakult, like loyalty? Because these guys probably, they just don't buy one product. They keep on coming back to the store, right?
Yeah. I mean, a Mofa is like a car. You need to maintain it. And you need to do a lot of stuff over and over and over again. That's why it's important to actually keep your customers.
So do you have any loyalty program already going?
It might be coming. I cannot deny or confirm, but it might be coming.
Okay. Political answer. I understand, and I'm not digging deeper. There is another thing I wanted our viewers to see: your massive analytics with Grafana.
Yeah, sure.
Can you share it? It's because I think we have ticked all the boxes with applications that are in the architecture.
Yeah, sure. So this thing being a very, I would say, modular setup, it enables us to have. So currently we are relatively low, I would say. This shows the amount of Angular replicas that we have. So it's basically copies of our front end. These are Sulu replicas at the moment. So also copies of the Sulu pod and Sylius replicas. In total, we have 28 nodes live. They're ready to receive any of those instances or copies that the system sees fit. So everything is hosted in AWS and everything is auto-scaling. What you see here might look a bit bad, but these are like the single worst requests within the last 24 hours. So sometimes even during the night when we're doing full syncs from the ERP and all the housekeeping in Sylius and Sulu, yeah, some requests may be slow, but these are single requests. On average, if you're looking at, for example, Varnish, we're way below 100 milliseconds even. Or if you're looking, I don't know, Sylius API, we're around the 100 millisecond, 100 millisecond, 63 sometimes. Sulu API is a bit slower. We're hoping to mitigate this with maybe Sulu 3.0, but fortunately, Varnish is hiding this gracefully for us. Yeah, so this gives a little glimpse in our, oh yeah. Whoa.
What happened here?
Queue was very busy today. So this is the queue you would actually see in action here. It built up. This could look like a full product sync from the ERP that is getting done at the moment.
Consumed, yeah. Okay.
Nice. So nice. Yeah, this is practically our cockpit that would show and also alert us of things going sideways. And yeah, we have seen as much as 24 replicas of the front end when there is a really crazy sale going on, or even after deployment when the front end is busy recreating all the cache. But yeah, I think this really puts apart a modular system that is completely scalable. I mean, we're running 14 shops at the moment.
Yeah.
So there are 14 top-level domains, complete copies actually of the front end, from Switzerland to Spain to France to Finland to Denmark, whatever, that are currently only running on 3, I would say, copies of our backbones, but they can ramp up to, well, at the moment the limit is 24. But if Mofakult turns on the money tap, it could go into an endless region if you want.
But by default, are they running on one copy and the other 2 are always like backing them, or they are divided?
Yeah. It's you define thresholds and AWS, actually on Kubernetes. So we're using Kubernetes.
Yeah, that was my next question. Like this auto scaling, everything is happening, I guess, thanks to your implementation of Kubernetes.
Yeah. You have your pods. These pods are actually, they have rules, certain rule sets, certain configurations that you're configuring them with. For example, this container has 300 megabytes of memory. It gets the CPU for a certain amount of time. If more is needed, yeah, there is a ramp up happening, for example, and everything is really automatically happening. In stark comparison, or in stark contrast to Magento, where you would just need a huge machine running idle 85% of the day, eating your money and being busy 50% of the day. This is completely scalable, container-based, ramps up, ramps down. It's quick and yeah, it's adds a lot to Mofakult's vision to wanting to conquer the world. This is still
and be the fastest on the moped.
Yeah, exactly.
And who built this? Was it your team?
Yeah.
With all the setup. Okay,
sure.
Impressive. And you are the guy responsible for the let's say monitoring, or you have some agents or automations that inform you when something goes wrong?
We have automations, so as soon as certain thresholds are reached, we're alarmed in our Slack channel. So
yeah, about that, you have I think the craziest Slack channel for a project I have ever seen. Like so many bots informing you about everything. It's really great. It's like a single source of truth and communication for developers.
It is, and yeah, so Sentry also plays an integral part. We're actually splitting. Maybe I can also show a glimpse about this. Why not? We're sharing best practices. Come on.
Yeah, you are.
We have a Sulu Sentry channel. We have a Sylius Sentry channel where we only get Sylius errors. These are sometimes they're not only coming from production, and a lot of them are just logs though. And we have an Angular Sentry channel. This one is actually pretty busy since they started A/B testing, because they're injecting custom CSS, and the front end just sometimes has hiccups, not visible ones, but the console just sometimes throws errors, which is not so nice. But yeah, this leads us to Sentry, which is our central backbone for error reporting, which also gives us, like 2 events, 1 user, who cares? But still, everything is analyzed, and we have full visibility where everything happens, where it happened, which user, Jesus, Samsung Internet?
Wow.
That's the Samsung built-in browser on Samsung phones.
That's rare.
It is rare, but it shows that you have to cope with so many different devices and so many different browser versions. And I mean, we're getting errors thrown at us.
How did you go about this browser readiness? Have you made tests for every browser, step by step, browser after browser, or?
We're in a very lucky position that Chromium is de facto the leading browser on Earth. Mofakult is pretty much in a bit a special situation, because in Switzerland they are very well, I would say a lot of people are using Apple devices. You wouldn't believe it, how many are actually using iPhones and also Macs, but mainly iPhones.
They are rich.
So they say. Yeah. And with the iPhone comes Safari.
Of course.
Some people also say Safari is the new Internet Explorer, and some say it's true as well. And that gives us some headaches from time to time.
So there is no way to be natively Safari ready. You just have to react to.
There is. I mean, we're testing. Every deployment on the common browsers. So obviously Safari, Chromium, and Firefox. But you can't test it on them all. I even think that Samsung Internet is some old Chromium version, but don't pin me on that.
No, I don't
pin me on that. But it's just amazing how many different generations of browsers and types of browsers.
About this process of testing everything, I noticed that you also are using A/B lift for A/B tests. So could you describe your deployment process, or I don't know, a campaign process where you actually test something new?
There is actually a partner. So Mofakult uses a partner so an own agency basically, that is suggesting tests and actually also doing the tests in the end. Not sure if I'm in one right now. Let's see. Yes, I am. Because if we're going with the German page.
And do you know if it just randomly fetches the A version to some users and B version to other users? Is it equal, or you don't know that?
It's equal.
Okay.
Yeah. So usually a test stops after around 4 to 5 weeks, and you can actually see the Swiss version is currently delivering me an accordion version of the product detail page. So they're currently testing this, if this gets better resonance with customers. And they're also testing if product images being displayed differently is resonating better with customers. So this is the original, no accordions. And this is I'm in the test here right now, where we actually see small images. I really like it. And we wanted to do this for ages. But now with A/B testing, it's not only a gut feeling, It's actually after 4 or 5 weeks, you see, okay, there have been at the same time over 1,000 users seeing A, over 1,000 users seeing B, over 1,000 users seeing the C version of the page. And B has performed the most, meaning you made the most conversions with version B. So it's an easy pick. It's a numbers-based pick, which is always very convenient and reliable too, because it's not only your gut feeling.
I must admit, when I'm listening to you and seeing all the setup, that Mofakult is really extraordinary when it comes to a mid-market business. Because
yeah, I guess so.
What you have applied here is, I guess, enterprise level. Many
That's
bigger
what
stores.
they wanted.
Yeah, I know, and kudos to them, and congrats to them, for the maturity, I guess, and the will to invest in all this, because it really gives them extra mile on the market. But yeah, this kind of setup is not really common, for mid-market stores.
It is. It isn't. Yeah, true.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can zoom out because we've been so deep into it, into all the architecture and all the apps. I wanted to speak business a little bit more. Also, there is one question from this Robbie strony. Do you have any B2B features, special pricing or VAT zero reverse charge orders? Is Sylius ready for it?
Sylius is ready for it. So we have actually many price groups. So there's B2P, there's B2C pricing that you see when you're not logged in. And if you're logged in and Mofakult qualified you as a B2B customer, it's basically a flag. You see B2B prices. This also applies to, Mofakult is still a Swiss-based company. So we had a big extension last year to enable them to ship across the border and actually have support all the different value-added tax rates in all the different European countries. It's still crazy that the European Union couldn't manage, or us European Union countries aren't able to manage to make VAT tax identical in all our countries. So yes, there are, depending on the login on the customer account type, you see either B2C or B2B prices.
Mm-hmm. I just realized that we are technically focusing on Sylius, and we haven't showed too much of Sylius backend and back office. So this question made me think that maybe we can stay a bit longer in this technical stuff and have a dive into the Sylius administration, if possible.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I was processing this B2B stuff and also the tax zones. Do you have a tax zone for every canton in Switzerland?
No.
No?
So fortunately, there is only one. If you're Tina Turner, you can actually ask for a special tax rate. But if you're Tim or Philip, you'll not get one.
Okay, easy.
Yeah. So we have zones. We have zones. You can, this is actually built in, if I'm not mistaken, in Sylius.
Yeah, it is. It's a native feature.
Yeah, this is not native though. So we added free shipping limits to each zone because by default, we set a limit of 100 Swiss francs or 100 euros. You get free of charge shipping. And you can actually do this. We actually had to define different limits per country. So you do this here. And we also have, so we're in zones, we also have countries. Mm-hmm. I believe we have the taxes.
You have Cyprus as well. Do you sell to
Cyprus? In theory.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We configure TLDs here. We configure the currencies here. Free shipping is configured here. I'm not sure where we see the taxation. I think this is even hidden. Yeah, this may be hidden because we're just getting it from the ERP and live with it. Where you see taxation is actually at the product. Mm-hmm. So we had to extend the price model a bit. So you would have Switzerland business, Switzerland consumer, and you would have tax rates to each price. The ERP force feeds us with this information. and we return the price as needed to the front end.
Okay.
So it's not manually filled in, don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, once you have like multi-country setup, there is, I guess, no other way.
No.
Because you can go for like one channel for B2B, second channel for B2C if you only operate in one country. But if you operate in many, I guess you have a Sylius channel for every country, or you don't?
We have an EU, European Union channel. And
This way. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And any other custom stuff? I can see daily offers, which was already briefly explained.
Exactly.
And then you have this exactly beneath that, you have product bed descriptions, very intriguing.
This is very unofficial. This is not this is not official yet, but maybe I can go a bit into it. So this is also part of the loyalty program that may or may not come.
Oh shit! Okay.
Basically,
it's A/B testing.
No, it's not A/B testing. This is actually already live. So if you have a bad description, you can ask your customers, or customers can actually report this to you. So like, hey, this actually didn't fit me. It's more like a centimeter less, or this, whatever. If they have any improvement to product description, and it's actually hard as a small team as Mofakult is. I mean, they're like, I think they have, by now, they're actually 40 people, but still they have nearly 20,000 products if you count, or 32,000 products if you're counting in the disabled ones too, so the ones that are end of life.
Okay, and as a product, you understand every SKU? Like
yes, so SKUs. 33,000 SKUs. And they have to maintain texts, they have to maintain attributes, they have to maintain, that's not visible here, they have to maintain stuff like, to which brand does this gear fit to? So this fits to these models.
I must say it's a very smart marketing move to pay people with loyalty points for being active in like contributing. It's a very community-oriented feature. You earn points for helping us being better as Mofakult, as the community. To have better
in the end, the customer knows best what fits to his moped, or sometimes they found out the hard way, right? So if you're going with gift card, hold on, voucher, you would actually need to select the voucher, digital or printed by post. You would select the value, put it into your cart, and you would get a PDF with a code that you can actually redeem.
And nobody did a screenshot, and nobody will use these codes. Obviously, no. Okay, let's think calmly for a second. Is there anything else you can show us from the Sylius administration panel?
Maybe just quickly, we're already 1 hour 50 into our conversation.
Yeah.
We have notifications, so we're seeing if somebody actually clicks the bell icon on any product. So let's put this on my wish list. We have SSO built in into front end. So this is the wish list. So actually it's two features. I want to put the L helmet on my wish list. Obviously this is rubbish data. And also at the same time, I could say, hold on, some things are unavailable. Let's remind me. By the way, these images loading, it's the test system. We just uploaded new images there for testing purposes. And now I'm getting notified here. And Mofakult can tell how many users actually press the button here. And if maybe some part isn't available anymore, they could produce it again, which is very cool.
Very cool.
So, wish lists are also visible. So also, if customers have stuff on their wish list that is not available anymore, maybe they just can produce it again.
Is it one of the committee plugins for wish lists?
Yes, I believe we customized that. Yeah.
Okay.
Card promotions are used. Catalog promotions are not used at the moment. Product reviews will be coming. I cannot deny nor confirm it.
Of course.
And we have email logs. and email tester.
Yeah.
So you can actually test subjects like, I don't know, password reset in German. You can actually take a look at every email that was actually sent to a customer, or actually send it to you again.
I also remember we applied a plugin which was like also bot plugin that was recommending what other customers bought with the specific product.
That's only visible on the front end.
It's yeah, exactly.
That's this one. So customers like you also bought.
Yeah, Mofakult, wie du
the English version again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could speak German for a second.
Obviously, with your name, you should.
With Tim Stanger, and yeah, of course.
So this is basically custom integration as well. Yeah, that you guys did. It's not visible, not represented in any UI.
Okay, but it just speaks how many things there could be done. I mean, to defend the 2.5 year migration process, so many applications, a big architecture, complex integrations, message queues, middlewares, system syncing with one another, customizations, extensions, plugins, it's really a lot. And I wanted to speak business because we need to get to the end. I told you it's going to be 2 hours, so I was right. We have still viewers, like there are still people interested in this.
Still 2 people there.
Still 2 people there. No, it's actually, I think, around 20. And obviously, it stays in the internet forever. So let's keep it as the best practices video for the future generations. Can you speak briefly about the goals? Do you think that the goals were met, honestly? Like I remember. Okay, let's start from the beginning. The shop was supposed to be ultra fast. I think correct. It is, right?
Yeah.
The shop was supposed to be launched for many countries. I think they wasn't sure how many at that time when they were starting, but today it's 14.
Probably all of Europe will be the goal in the end, but in order to achieve that, they would have to actively do marketing in those markets.
Yeah.
Maybe Google Ads, or just invest more time to do more custom content for, tailored content for each country.
Yeah.
And they don't have the manpower to do that yet. So they're still working with those 14, and even the 14 countries are not all of them are actively targeted yet. So before they expand to new countries, they probably will have to hire new staff.
Obviously, it's never about just technical rollout. You have to be prepared business-wise as well.
On technical side, we're ready to scale to the moon, I would like to say.
That's amazing. It really means that if they want to go to US, their technology is already waiting, right?
No
There's
problem.
nothing that would block them. That's crazy. Okay. Can you say, think about it, that the sales are better? Because it's always the goal. We migrate to have a bigger business.
Yeah. I can't tell you exact numbers, but yes, sales are good. Sales are better than they have been with the old shop. The number I can tell you is they had 85% more customers in the first year after launch.
Okay, that's impressive.
Which is nice.
But that's, to be honest, it's for sure thanks to their marketing.
Maybe they had the marketing before though as well.
Okay.
It was the same. It was the same guys. They did the same amazing job as they did before. So that number I can tell. I can say that orders are good. What I also can say in comparison to the benchmark, I mean, during Corona, everyone stayed at home. Yeah. E-commerce was huge. There were so many shops started, and now I think in 2022, 23 there was a big consolidation in the market. So a lot of shops died. Big brands like IKEA and whoever, they had losses in compared to the previous years of 30, 40, 50% sometimes.
Of course.
Mofakult didn't suffer those losses. So probably they're doing a fantastic job with marketing, keeping their religion alive, so to speak. Maybe we also contribute a little to that.
Very modest, but I think for sure it's it really comes from the technology as well, for sure. I mean, the technology was ready for this traffic and for these orders going in, many orders per day. We can't say how many. And also, in comparison to Magento, obviously the whole management is brighter, it's easier. But also, I remember there was a quite long waiting time for the back office, and now there is zero wait time, right, for the back end?
Yeah, there's zero wait time. So actually, like the 12 orders I spoke in the beginning of, they took them like a coffee break with the Magento system, and now everything is completely automated. So yeah, they're very, very efficient at the moment. The ERP that I threatened them with when I first met them is now live, or has been live for many months, and it actually enables them to save time and to scale themselves internally as well.
Any other stats you could share about the number of code lines or tests that you have implemented?
Well, I think we're around 1 million code lines at the moment, the whole solution. We are, if we're just counting issue numbers, so we're working with GitLab CI/CD. We're now at issue 3,748, I believe. So that's a massive amount of issues.
Okay.
That alone tells how busy we have been the past 3.5 years, or even 4 years even at this point. And I mean, it's a very busy project. We're very happy working at it, but we're also in front of, I would say, Mofakult Webshop 2.0, and we're extremely excited because the features that we teased a little bit, which may or may not come, they will come, obviously. So it will be a summer present to all existing and new customers.
And the summer is really close by, so
we
will see it quite soon. I can't wait. Is there any other future plan that you could share apart from this, let's say, community-oriented features?
To be completely open, we haven't used much of the Sylius Plus bundle yet. Like nothing.
Okay.
And that will be used more intensely. So the Sylius Plus bundle was chosen because they knew that they would have multiple warehouses at one point. They knew that they would need user rights in Sylius Admin UI. They knew that they would need RMA functionality in the end, also in Sylius and in the front end. So that will be definitely one of the plans, and a lot of community plans. So,
and there are a lot of B2B features added recently to the Sylius Plus offering, so maybe this is something that you could use as well.
Yeah. So you're never at an end, actually.
Yeah, it's like a never-ending development. Okay. I think we are 2 hours already. 2 hours already passed. I wanted to ask many more questions, but maybe in the next, I don't know, few years, we're gonna have another webinar about where Mofakult is. But let's finish with some personal note. What's next for you after Mofa? Because you've been so involved in this, like 5 years of your career passed by focusing on this amazing project, and you delivered amazing results. And how do you feel about it? Do you still feel the power, in you to keep going, or is there any new challenge coming up?
I'm in the lucky position that I'm currently not involved in sales. My company. So I'm sure my CEO has something in store for me when we're closing the big development phase with the Mofakult shop in a few months. But yeah, what I'm the only thing and the most important thing that I and the team are focusing on right now is getting those last big features flying. and what comes after comes after.
Okay. Okay, I can't wait. I think I'd like to congratulate again. Amazing effort. We didn't speak much about all the team members that were involved. Maybe we should give them kudos.
Yeah.
Can we say there were 6 teams altogether?
There was a Sylius team, there was a Sulu team, there was a front-end team. Each of them were 2 people, so six of them. Sometimes there were 3 of them because we also had part-time workers. There was 1, sometimes even 2 designers because they were also part-time involved. There was a very important person, David of the founder team of Fusonic, who did an amazing job in operations. But every one of those guys, I mean, I was probably the first one. No, not probably, definitely the first one in this company to do such a thing with a distributed team. So they were not in my office at the time because the company was just completely busy. So we partnered up with external, sometimes freelancers. In your case, it was ex-Sylius developers. We also partnered up with the Sulu company, who are just amazing in getting jobs done and bringing ideas on the table. We also were involved with the front-end agency, Allfront, who I want to also bring my kudos to. They were amazing to deliver this the front end the way we have it, and now we're more and more getting the resources back. So bringing the know-how internally into our own office, and I'm getting more and more internal colleagues whose job it will be to maintain.
I believe it's supernatural. You actually, you had the privilege to use the best specialist. I don't want to be arrogant, but you took the best Sylius specialist. You took the best Sulu specialist because both were the authors of their systems.
Yeah,
which is super rare to have such a
We're
constellation.
Lucky. Yeah, we're lucky.
But you really delivered, and you managed to kind of give all these people the proper space for communication, and even the very fact that we could visit you in your Austrian office, that's very crucial, because you can have these distributed teams, but then there are moments when you have to bring them all together. And I wonder, would you agree that there is nothing else like being in the same room, like having a physical team delivering, right?
That was my most important request to our company leaders. If I have to do this with a distributed team that is distributed across Europe, we need to meet at least every 3 to 4 months in person, work with each other, drink some refreshing drinks.
Absolutely.
And obviously that's extremely important to
hike into the mountains to keep
hike,
your
ski,
brain fresh,
swim, whatever. We had such an amazing time in Malta, in Bulgaria, in Poland, in Slovenia, in Austria as well. So we always visited at the spots where one of our team members was able to guide us, to be a guide